Okay, let's have another game. 5 minutes auto pairing. I've gone a bit below 2100. I've lost a few games this morning. I don't know if it's because I'm worn out from yesterday or something, but I looked at the openings and I haven't been playing them very well either, so it's even the opening choices seems to be affected sometimes when you're tired. Let's play for the open Sicilian. Right, now I did look at this before, and I think this is a reasonable plan against this accelerated fianchetto. It's a good little surprise just to play bishop c4 and queen f3. I know it looks a bit funny, but I think it might be an effective system against this. Alright, maybe I can provoke some weakness. Bishop g5. I can play bishop f6. Bishop f6 here is interesting. Take a dark square. Okay. If I can castle queenside, then I think my position will be fine. So we've got a classic problem again. This triangle with pawns means the dark squares are weak. So if I can just castle now, maybe, I don't know, knight a4 is also tempting as well as knight e2. Knight a4 and c3. Knight might be a target though, so maybe knight e2 is more prudent. Actually, if I can get an h4, that might discourage f5 from black as well. In fact, h4 here. Maybe interesting, I'm not sure. If fe, queen e4, I mean e5 is under fire. I'm going to soften these squares a bit. So maybe queen g3 actually. Straight away attacking e5, provoking f4. This might be handy. If I can get an f4, that would be opening up the position a bit and putting more pressure on d4. There was a tempting alternative of h5 just then, but I'm not really sure. Queen f3, I think. Now maybe g3 next. So again trying to undermine these pawns. I don't know if my opponent's trying to squash me with bishop a6 and c4 though. Do I need to play something like... Will I need to play something like c4 here? I think c4 might be possible. It gives me a blockade square d3. So I'm exploiting that pin against the queen. But on the other hand, black has a big d4 pawn now. Although if I can take on f4, maybe that's good tactically. Knight takes f4, maybe I can get away with that. Or just g takes and just use the g file against the black king here. Okay. Now actually maybe at some point f4 as well. I think king b1 first though. So queen f2, queen e5. Maybe knight c1 to d3 reminds me of Nigel Short against Cathy Forbes on the Master Game years ago, where Short had a beautiful knight blockade. Okay, I can play f3 here because queen f3, queen e5. Now maybe a4 to stop that counterplay with a4. Okay, knight c1 to d3 would be seemingly really nice to get in. I think I'll play it here. So still offering that f3 pawn. That might be kind of controversial though. I don't know. Queen e5, queen f6, queen takes c5. I'm not really sure. Knight d3 is such a nice move to get in though. Attacking c5 and e5. Oh, queen f3, queen g6. What am I talking about? So e5 is under fire. And c5 is under fire. If I can take on c5, then knight d7 will be threatened. So knight c5 also protects the bishop, so I'll go for it. Protects the bishop on b3. So I'm now threatening knight d7 with a sort of family fork. Although queen b6, the queen's tied down to g6. Keep forgetting that. So knight d7 next. Maybe knight takes b8 if the bishop moves. Bishop moves to b7, knight d7. Bishop's actually protected. That okay? After I think I have to take that. So I'm losing that c4. I'll go back. c5 again, threatening knight d7. Okay, here. So I've got a threat of knight d7. Maybe just positioning. I just want to go back, but maybe I want to slip in b3 first before doing anything else, or rook c1. b3 might be annoying for my opponent. I'm not sure. Or is any harm in h5, g5 blocks up the position, or rook c1? Rook c1, trying to get to the 7th rank seems to be usually a good idea, to get a rook to the 7th rank. So I'll go for rook c1. So bishop d3 is not possible at the moment. Right, so here maybe oh, my knight's a bit vulnerable, so I don't really want to play something like maybe rook takes c7 is almost forced with the idea of knight d7, or no, rook takes c4, knight takes knight d3 with a bit of pressure, but then there's knight d2 and I might be in trouble here. Okay, so what can I play here? b3? I messed this up. Okay, what about rook takes, knight b3? Bit passive, but oh, this knight d2 check is really devastating. Rook takes c4, knight takes, knight d3, knight d2 check. King there's queen a6, and then mating on b3. Oh dear. Okay. I think I might have to play this anyway. Rook takes c4. See what happens here. Now maybe knight. Knight d3, knight d2. Maybe king a1 at least. With knight d2, I have got an attack on e5 coming up, so if I can play king a1, that would be a bit better than king a2 and queen e6 check. So king a1 will be the only move, I think, after knight d2 check. If I can just get in actually, queen g2, defending for a moment, d2 square. Now, actually queen h2 would have still id5. Okay. Now rook c1 seems possible, although not very pleasant. Still trying to get rook to the 7th. Knight a3, king a1. Can't see anything crushing. Thankfully my knight's protecting that b2. Right, now taking on no, queen c2 actually. Queen c2, knight a3. King a2. Oh dear. Queen e2 maybe. Queen e2. So it's not that pleasant. But I'm actually maybe threatening knight c5. I might be threatening knight c5 in some variations now. Especially here. Knight c5. So forking queen and rook. So if rook takes, just queen takes b2. Instead of check, queen takes c4. That's all over. Just bother shouting. Oh, all right. Let's actually So that was a good surprise against the Accelerate Fianchetto, I think. I wonder if there's time for another game actually. This is a bit jammy, this game. Not that pleasant. Black had a lot of counterplay. More than I would have liked, that's for sure. So this knight c5 at the end was kind of devastating.